Welcome to Codebreakers, Women in Tech, the podcast where we delve into the world of technology and innovation. Join me, Candice, as I meet inspiring women from the southwest of England's tech ecosystem and dive into the journeys of tech leaders who are breaking barriers and paving the way for future generations. Hello, welcome back to the Codebreakers Women in Tech podcast. Today I'm delighted to welcome Jess. Jess is one of my colleagues here at TimeWait. She's our internal account manager. Jess, welcome to the podcast.
Hi.
It'd be really interesting to understand how you've kind of entered the world of tech and how you've ended up in the role that you are today.
Went to uni and I had obviously no idea what I wanted to do. I actually did a history degree, which is not really what's going on here at the moment. But I did my degree and I came out of university and I previous role in manufacturing, and it was very client based, working with our clients to find the best fit and need for their business. So that's kind of, would say I'm more of like a people person. So that element of that job itself was really appealing. When this opportunity came up to delve into the world of IT and technology as well, helping our clients do the best that they can with their technology, it kind of fit really nicely. And the IT and the technology side was kind of a massive step out of my comfort zone, but it was really exciting because our world is all technology at the moment and it's always going to be evolving. So it's really, really great to be part of that.
Yeah, I mean, for any business out there, that they're going to be using technology. And I think I can speak for both of us. It's really rewarding when you're making those recommendations to our clients and they're implementing, or we're implementing the new systems or securities for them, and they can notice the change. And you know, everybody just wants technology to work. Well, in order for that to happen, we, as our role, have to guide our customers in kind of understanding what that looks like and the solutions surrounding making sure that the technology is up to the current best practices. You mentioned there about really enjoying the aspect of, you know, being client facing and things like that. I think there's a lot of people out there that are thinking about joining the technology world as such, potentially don't understand the amount of roles that are out there. So even for yourself, there's a breadth of roles that are available, but the one that's suitable for you is having that client customer facing relationship in that kind of realm.
When you think about IT and technology companies in general, you're always thinking, you know, like the back end, we're going to be fixing things, we're going to be doing things. So it was really like refreshing almost to have an opportunity where we're out, we're seeing clients, we're making those recommendations, we're proactively helping people, because you just don't, I never would have associated this type of job, and I don't really know why. It's probably just the perception of our type of company to the world, I suppose. But yeah, it's great that we're there, because it's great as well for us to be able to go and speak to our clients who aren't technology minded. So we're there to kind of make that simple for them and so that they understand, which is super rewarding.
Completely. And it's been a topic that's been mentioned quite a few times on this podcast series, that younger people, both women and men, don't know the available like vacancies and jobs that are out there. So when they're thinking of technology, they're thinking of coding and all these really technically advanced roles, when actually there's a breadth of other roles that may be suitable to them. I mean, I did a business management degree and I've now found myself landed in tech, which I probably would have never have thought back when I was at university or college. But here I am.
Absolutely.
And, you know, I wasn't necessarily surrounded by technology when I was younger. It's kind of a later on, I guess, role that I've taken on that's allowed me to kind of delve into the world of tech. And I'm quite grateful that I have. I mean, we're never going to be out of a job, are we? Technology is always going to be advancing.
Absolutely.
There's always
keeping that knowledge up to date.
Yeah. There's always something new that's kind of entering the world. I mean, we both give cybersecurity training as part of our roles. And for me, that's been a nice task to complete, because I think I could probably speak for yourself as well, but we're learning about how much malicious activity is out there. We're trying to educate our clients to kind of protect themselves. And with every presentation, there's always lots of conversation around, oh, I've experienced that. Oh, is that how it works? And, you know, a lot of conversation around the cyber world, essentially. I mean, that's another whole role in itself. You get your cyber specialists. Yeah. So there's so much out there that I just think the younger generation maybe aren't aware of. I mean, even in my previous role, there was a number of graduates that were taken on board, and we all did completely different degrees. One of them actually did history, and we've all ended up in tech. So it's not even that you need to have a tech background to join, the industry, which I think is really interesting.
About having like an open mind, isn't it, and being able to apply what you do learn at university to like your working career, because it teaches you all sorts of things and it teaches you that discipline that you need. Then go into the workplace and be like, right, this is out my comfort zone. Let's do it. Like, let's learn something new, something exciting, and yeah, that's what it teaches you. So it is good that kind of we can do whatever degree we want, apply it somewhere else within reason, obviously.
I mean, don't get me wrong, when you're in the IT world, you do have to continuously learn.
Yeah.
And both of us have been put on courses and obtained accreditations and qualifications whilst we've been here at TimeWade, and we're always going to have to do that because technology is constantly advancing. We need to make sure that we're up to speed with the relevant information to be able to guide our clients. So I think that's a big thing as well, that sometimes maybe people will find that daunting, that, you're still kind of having to do the education style things, exams and things like that. But I would say that's a good thing for us as individuals, because you're constantly learning and you're constantly developing. I mean, I know that you've done a few courses since you've been here, and there's more in the pipeline. How do you find that aspect of having to continuously do these courses and these exams to make sure that you're in line with the current technologies?
For me personally, it's all about personal development and growth. Like, if I want to be the best that I can be in my role and for our clients as well, then I am more than happy to apply myself and put myself through those courses, those exams. They're really daunting, like, don't get me wrong. They are hard, but they're worth it and they pay off. And the amount of things I've learned from doing them, how I've been able to apply it in everyday work, day to day, has been amazing, and it's been really, really instrumental in my growth, I think.
Yeah.
So yeah, bring it on.
Give us more.
Give me all the qualifications.
We've also touched on in this podcast series around company culture and how company culture can play a part in, number one, helping women into the kind of tech world, also help the companies in general achieve what they want to achieve, making sure that their values are communicated throughout the business so that the employees know exactly what they're there to achieve. Is company culture, quite a high priority of yours when you're looking to enter a business?
Yes, in short, I think, especially in terms with, looking at women, I think it's instrumental to have women in positions where you can kind of look up to them, you can see what they're doing, you'll then be able to see that actually this field is accessible to women, and actually this is something that we should be doing. And if you want to, if you are qualified, if you're excited, if you're ready to kind of take that leap into the world of tech, then it doesn't have to be as male dominated as it's perceived. It's really important, especially for myself coming into TimeWade and seeing yourself in the position that you are and thinking, oh wow, okay, like, this is amazing. So I've got somebody here that's going to be able to help foster my abilities, and I can see that then, like, the way that you work and the way that you are and it's almost like it's really positive. It puts elements of support in place that you don't always generally see with kind of like a male dominated like leadership team, and it's just having that extra thing to strive to, and that extra goal. I want to do this because I know that as a woman I can.
Yeah. It's almost about like the mentorship, isn't it?
Absolutely.
You know, I've been lucky enough to have Jordan as my mentor, albeit a man, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But to be honest, throughout my career, it's been mainly men, I would guess. Yes, there have been women that have been my bosses and things like that, but in IT, it's a lot of males. But I do think that over time, hopefully, more women are going to kind of not be steered away from the technology industry. But like I said earlier, technology is all around us. So everybody is now dealing with technology when they're young. Lots of people have mobile phones, you know, gaming, Xboxes, PlayStations, things like that, really fancy computers they're able to play with and kind of get a little bit of a hobby as such to then spark it. But I think company culture is massive. And I think if the company is not kind of fostering growth, not growth in terms of the company, but growth as in you as in the individual, and kind of helping you and guiding you to kind of reach where you want to reach, you're just not going to get there.
No, and it's also instrumental to keep people in your business. You want to be seen. Well, I feel that everyone at TimeWade is invested in everybody else. So every single person across the board, the support's there. Everybody's invested in that personal development and growth. And I think that's really refreshing to see, because it helps and it keeps people motivated and it keeps people in their job, essentially, especially as a woman. Like you want your company to foster that in you because of the stigma that's attached with tech industries or roles in general, I suppose.
Definitely. I guess maybe just to kind of end this conversation, what do you want to get out of being in the tech industry? Is there something that you want to achieve? Are you looking to develop and progress into, you know, maybe more leadership roles? What is your kind of trajectory that you want to achieve in the tech industry?
For myself, I just am focusing on, like, as I've already mentioned, but my personal development. So I want to make sure that my knowledge is always topped up to date. I want to make sure I'm with the changing world as it goes, just increasing my capabilities, my skill set, to then obviously be able to grow in my career as well. I think it's instrumental to start with those kind of fundamentals, making sure that knowledge is in check, and then making sure then my experience will then come alongside it, and then being able to progress my career from there. It's exciting.
It is
exciting.
And it's all about like taking the leap, isn't it, into something that is the unknown, or that you know you have a base level understanding on, and then you're just developing and developing and developing. And I mean, I can, you know, with the courses that you've been on and hopefully through my guidance, I've noticed a huge jump in experience that you've had here at TimeWade, which again is really refreshing to see. And I was really excited when Jordan, our managing director, said, "We've got another girl coming on board, Candy." I was like, yes.
Yes.
Girl power.
No, absolutely. And credit where credit's due. Like, you've been one of the reasons why I've been able to grow myself so well. So I'm grateful to have a mentor that is a female, but also is experienced to kind of guide me through that process. It's been really great.
Thanks. Much appreciated. You're welcome.
You're welcome.
All right then, Jess. Well, thank you very much for jumping on the podcast. It's been great to kind of delve into your experiences and things like that. And I guess watch the space.
Yeah,
from Candy and Jess.
Absolutely. Go power at TimeWade.
Thought it would be really useful to end this podcast with some of my key takeaways from the series. I've found it really insightful. So what I would like to do is just delve into each of the podcasts that we've had. So the first podcast that we had was with Nikki. It was a really interesting podcast with Nikki. The comments that she was making around how we can get younger women involved in tech from a young age. Unfortunately, the school selection work experience programs select a lot of males, and we spoke about that men are more into gaming. However, I did read something the other day that may be changing that statistic, that 40% of UK gaming industry is made up of women. So that's nearly 50%, which I thought was quite an interesting statistic, because we've not seen that trend in women in tech roles. But I'm hoping that's gonna change. On the flip side, there are less than 5% of women choosing computer science. So there's clearly some kind of blurred lines on what kind of areas these women are getting into. And some degree a gap, I guess, between what is being offered as education compared with maybe hobbies for things like gaming. It was really interesting to see that those statistics and hear about kind of her experiences as well. My perspective is that we need to get young people to know that IT is available, and that IT is more than just what they would maybe think IT is. There's such a breadth of roles out there that, not even myself understands or knows about all of the tech roles that are available for these young people. It's about trying to encourage them to try something new, dip into the world of tech. I think it's also down to how we're kind of describing these roles, and how we're kind of educating the young people on what these roles are, and how maybe jobs are kind of worded in their job descriptions. We also touched on women in leadership roles and the kind of challenges, and it's kind of up to the leadership to attract the best staff, and it needs to be inclusive. And I'm very lucky that here at TimeWade I've had a great mentor by our managing director, and is always encouraging me to kind of encourage other people to enter the world of tech. We just had Jess on the podcast earlier, who started as our internal account manager. It was really refreshing that to join my little team was another woman. I hope that we can work together and guide each other on this road of leadership and attracting more women into the tech world and things like that. I think it's also about having people that are relatable to the younger generation, and almost having a role model to know that you can do it as well. So it was a really good podcast with Nikki. We then had Emily. We touched upon that experience isn't necessarily needed to join the industry, and it's about getting an opportunity with a company that can help guide you and show you what roles are involved in technology, almost like a little bit of work experience, to understand what the tech world is like, and understand the different roles that could be available for you to join. Here at TimeWade we take on apprentices each year, and that's a good opportunity for them to do some education, so their college, whilst they're getting the industry experience, to see whether it's something that they want to do. A lot of these apprentices, I've been to some apprentices fairs, and it was quite refreshing that there were girls that were interested, and we just need to get more of them to venture into this world and kind of help them understand that if you've not got experience in IT, then that shouldn't stop you from trying to get the experience in IT. Again, we spoke about encouraging a positive working culture that's needed to kind of attract a workforce, but also retain a really good workforce. I think if your company is fostering your growth, investing in you, and if we are talking about getting younger people into the tech industry, we need to make sure that their experience in that company is positive. They can see the values that the company is trying to showcase, and that their values align with that as well. We then had Samantha from Pixelytics. Again, she didn't have the IT qualifications as such. She went to veterinary college, and then she was introduced to computers at university whilst doing a science degree, and never thought of it really as a career. And there's one thing that she mentioned that was quite interesting, that she was never encouraged when she was younger to do the IT aspect. So that kind of ties in with what Nikki and I spoke about, and with Emily as well, that the percentage of women that are choosing to do those computer science degrees or computer science qualifications is quite small. And maybe that's because we're not encouraged from a young age, but I'm hoping that this podcast is encouraging you, and that you do want to kind of take that leap into the IT world. Samantha then went on to do a marine science degree, and it was here that she specifically went into marine computing applications. Again, something that even myself learned on that podcast, that those roles are available in that industry of work, working with computers, but relating it to kind of the marine science aspect of it. She does a lot of coding, and so that is what her role is particularly focused on. And she really likes the element of problem solving. Again, the IT world is a lot of problem solving. It's coming up with solutions, or it's fixing a certain thing that's gone wrong, an application, a system, a database, hardware. There's a lot of problem solving in it. So if that is something that you do enjoy, then IT is a good fit, essentially. And also, we touched upon that a number of students that are taking computing degrees and at A levels and GCSEs is dropping. And that's because the syllabus just isn't interesting enough to what people want to learn about, and that it's relatable. So again, it goes back to what we were talking about in the podcast with Nikki around there's just no funding available to be able to help these schools and these colleges have the syllabus that is relatable for people to learn on. And then we came to a podcast with Roxana. I loved this podcast with Roxana. She again is kind of a case study on how she's developed throughout her time, and is now in a really good leadership role for a company called Boomi. And leadership wasn't something that Roxana thought that she would be in. But again, this was down to her mentorship that she had to get her into that position. So having a good role model, having a good mentor, along with hard work, don't get me wrong, you still have to put in the graft and the hard work to get there. But without having that role model and that mentor, maybe that is where I say problem, I don't mean that in a negative way, but maybe that is where it's stemming from, that there aren't women in these leadership roles because they've got no mentor that is maybe a woman or a male that's guiding them into getting to that leadership point. And another thing that Roxana mentioned that, again, I thought was so interesting was Roxana's come over to the UK from Romania, and there is a lot more women in tech in Romania and other European countries. She expressed there was always half and half, 50-50 male, 50% women. And then when she came to the UK, that was drastically different. And the clientele that was applying for roles for a company, or when she was recruiting, were predominantly men. And she had to branch out the area space that she was trying to recruit from. So it's potentially not even just an issue as such with the UK. It's great to hear that these other countries are encouraging women and there's lots more women in tech. But why isn't that the case in the UK? What are we doing wrong to not encourage people to join the world of tech? Roxana also helps and works with schools to help encourage students during their A levels. Again, finding that mentor, or these young people finding that mentor to try and help them understand what the world is like in terms of technology. And then the final episode that we had was with Laura. And Laura essentially used her personal experience. She was a doctor, and she then started a family. And she used her experience to create an app that can help others, specifically mothers. And so young people that may have a hobby in something or may have an experience in something, you can create something that is using IT to help other people. And I thought that was really, really interesting that she's used her personal experience to create this app called Mummy to help young mothers guide themselves through motherhood and kind of give them the opportunity to seek out support from other mothers that are in a very similar process or experience. And again, Laura didn't have any IT background. That's not something that she necessarily grew up with. And, she entered the world of being a doctor, which there's not much IT as such in that industry that you would maybe think for other industries. So again, it comes back to not having that IT knowledge doesn't stop you from entering the world of technology. It doesn't stop you from going for that job or that apprenticeship or starting that degree or starting that A level. Take the leap of faith, have a go at it. If it's not something that you like from the end of it, so be it. You tried it. I tried a number of things when I was younger at the bank. So I went and did some work experience there. I did a HR. I worked at my university, doing loads of experience to see what things I liked. And through that process, I was able to whittle down what I did like and what I didn't like, aspects of roles that I did like and aspects of the roles that were maybe not fit for purpose for me and the way that I would like to do a role. So I think it's been a really, really interesting podcast. And I'm really grateful and happy and appreciative that we've had the amazing guests that we've had on this podcast that were able to share their experiences and also give me a little bit of advice. I've taken a lot away from these podcasts that I'm able to apply to my current role. And I may not have had that experience or opportunity, shall I say, to speak with these people if I didn't do this podcast. So it's opened up areas for myself, and I really hope that the listeners to the podcast have also taken away some useful insights and able to potentially make that leap of faith and enter the world of tech. But like I say, I hope that there's some people out there that have taken some lots of positives from this podcast. I appreciate there's sometimes been a bit of doom and gloom around, women not being in the industry, but the aim of this podcast was to encourage people to join it and kind of join the IT world, particularly women. If there's anybody out there that wants to connect, then please connect with me on LinkedIn, and we can catch up, and I can help share my experience with you and help you kind of maybe enter the world. So thank you very much for listening. Like I say, I hope it was insightful and you've taken something valuable away from the series. And yeah, thank you very much.